Okay, I swear this wasn't a settings thing. It was just. I swear this was not a settings thing. This is more just like a. Just arbitrarily disconnected. Again, not sure. Not really sure why. So yeah, the album artwork is like everything is beautiful after a while. It was so nice to see like every week Roger Dean would do like another live stream of the where he'd paint the painting. It was so great. Roger's a real man of his craft and absolutely amazing person. I got a few stories I really wanted to share. So, the first one being that in where I live, we have a. They probably have these in other states too, but in mine we have a store called Vintage Stock. In other states, it might be known as Movie Trading Co. or something. But here in mine state, it's called Vintage Stock, and I've been going there for close to 9 years now, and it's a great place, and I liked going there, but I've gone there so many times, and the magic is a little lost now. And my dad absolutely hates going there because he's been given like really crappy deals on stuff there before, and he's not happy about. And everything is just it. But one time I went there with some friends of mine. And I went there with some friends of mine. We have one just opened up here, not far from where I live. Well, where I live now. It was a little ways away from where I lived. From where I lived then, like a 10-minute drive. So I was with some of my friends like, hey, do you want to go to the new Vintage Stock that opened up? I'm like, yeah, sure, I love Vintage Stock. So we all go to Vintage Stock, and we're all there. And we're all chilling out and go. And at the time, one of my favorite movies. I still love it. It's called one of my favorite movies is called Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo, which was the first movie. I think that was the first movie Rob Schneider ever had like a leading role in. In the movie, he plays a dude. He's a fish tank cleaner who cleans. It was hired to watch over a gigolo's fish tank, and then which is like worth thousands of dollars, and then he breaks it by mistake, being an idiot, and then he has to be a gigolo to help pay it off. Eddie Griffin's in it. And it's a really crass movie. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, really, at least now. Still like to watch it though every now and then. I still get legitimate laughs out of me, like Norm Macdonald's cameo. That's beside the point. So there's one scene. I'm bringing this up because there's one scene in the movie where he's being a gigolo to a very tall woman, and they have a clip of this guy going, "What the hell is what?" Oh my gosh. I laughed when I first saw that. So what I did was I found the isolated clip of that on YouTube. I downloaded it using a YouTube to MP3 converter, and then I made it my notification tone. I had weird things with my notification tones before. Right now I just don't have one. I just let my phone vibrate to let me know. I'm like, okay, cool. And I've had my notification tone set to other things before, like David Lee Roth saying, "Oh God," and Running with the Devil, just without the instrumentation. So just David Lee Roth yelling, "Oh God." I'm getting off topic. So I had set that as my notification tone. So and I forgot to turn it off before I went in public. So a fat black woman entered the room and entered the store. And I was by the I wasn't far from the entrance because that's the Yu-Gi-Oh cards were. And then my notification tone went off as she entered, and she looked around the store to like see who said that, because she thought somebody actually said that. I think, or maybe she used an audio recording, and it was like, who played that? When in actuality, just someone sent me a text message, and that just had my notification tone went off. It was just it was just a horrible series of an absolutely horrible series of just like events that happened. Absolutely horrible. Just like turn events, and then she just walks away like angrily through the store. That's not even the stupidest thing that happened there. So it wasn't the same trip. It was another one. We went there another time because one of my friends wanted to really get a. I don't remember what they were buying. My friend Marshall was very adamant that he buys this one thing. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was some thing for his Xbox, but I'm getting off topic. Wait, no, it's on topic. I have a Japanese friend. Her name or Rio for short. We did, and is my KBPS dropping? Okay, it's reconnected. Okay, it's reconnected. Don't worry. Okay, so we call her Ryosuke for short. I think her name is Ryosuke. We called her Rio for short, and we were she and she saw this thing. This was a new thing. I think they didn't. I don't. I think they just started selling these. They had these things called incense sleds. I think they're called incense sleds. You put incense on them, and I think you're supposed to burn them, like but not the sled, the incense on the sled, and it like makes like an aroma or something. And oh, okay. This is one of the stupidest things I've ever done. So at the time, I had like a few albums on my phone. I was wearing a pair of Bluetooth, not Bluetooth headphones. Sorry, I'm just so used to using Bluetooth headphones. I had a crappy pair of wired headphones I got from Santa Claus a few months prior. I just started wearing them. I had a few albums on my phone. I had mostly Daryl Hall and John Oates, a little bit of Eurobeat stuff, Robert Plant, Now and Zen, which is what I was listening to at the time. And you'll find out why why I'm mentioning this in a second. So she's like, so then she's like, oh hey, I have one of these in my house. What? I'm like, well, what? An incense sled. I'm like, oh, these are just like the slap bracelets. Like, no, these are incense sleds. They might look a little like slap bracelets, but they're incense sleds. They're very common in they're very common and they're very common in other parts of the world. Okay, that's cool. And so, she's like, maybe you should get one. I think incense could really do good for could really do good for your room, considering you always say how bad it smells in there. But the reason my room smells so bad is I don't really clean it. That room specific. I live in a different room now. I say that like I never leave my room, and it's not a totally inaccurate assumption, at least now. So the room the room was it always smelled bad because I smelled bad at the time. My hygiene really didn't start getting good until like 2019. I think. Yeah, early 2019. Late 2018. And so I joke about like how bad my room smells, and my mom every time she'd walk in and go, "Oh, this room smells awful." And it's just but she thought like she didn't know like I was joking when I bring up the fact that my mom thought my room smelled awful. And I go, "Oh, really?" And like, yeah. It's like I guess I could, and so I like maybe I could demo one of these, but there was no employee around, and so I guess they were short staffed that day. I'm not sure. So we go to so I go over to the incense stand, and I see like the incense sleds have like all these designs. They have like Naruto, Dragon Ball, and it's vintage stock. They have like really crappy anime themed whatever anything. And just like the most random thing. It's incense sled. That's on My Hero Academia incense sled. I just like okay, and I pull it out, and I'm like yeah, I watch My Hero Academia mainly as a thing to like connect with my friends with about really. They love the show, and so I just kind of watch. I have something to talk about with them, Some of the I just see like the random thing of incense leaking, and I'm like, oh shoot, no, okay. Like, I just put like it's leaking anyway, so I put it in there, and I snort the incense because I didn't know you were supposed to burn it. And so I just snort the incense. I'm listening to "Heaven Knows" by Robert Plant, and I feel like my nose just burns, and I feel like I'm having a spiritual awakening or something. The fact that I'm listening to Robert Plant solo music. Yeah, I listened to Robert Plant solo more before I ever listened to Led Zeppelin. So I'm listening to Robert Plant's. I'm listening to "Heaven Knows" by Robert Plant, and I'm snorting incense off like a ridiculously stupid My Hero Academia incense sled. And the only person who knows it was her. And she went. It was Rio, and she ran up to me and started like patting me on the back, like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "What's wrong?" She's like, you snorted it. I'm like, "What's?" Like, "You're supposed to burn it." And I'm like, "You want?" You can't demo that in here. Like maybe you could smell, like put your nose in and smell it, but I'm supposed to snort it. Or I messed up big time. I freaking messed up big. And so that whole day, I have the incense in my system, and I didn't the whole day. I didn't feel bad, but I didn't feel good either. I felt weird. I just felt weird. I just felt weird that day. The rest of that day, and the incense actually didn't smell that bad. It smelled like an antique shop. I like the smell of antique shop. Mm. Ugh. And so Rio kept on like, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." We all go to Marshall's house. We all go to Marshall's house, and we're playing Super Fight together. And we're playing Super Fight together, and I don't know, I'm less as my energetic self, and I'm more quiet, I'm more calm, because the incense did something to me. It physically changed me as a human being for like the next few hours. And sometimes we stop and I go home and like, you know what, Eric's not, you know what, Eric.exe is stopped functioning. Well, why don't we all just go home except Marshall, because he's already home. His parents were. I think his mom was in her room reading or something like that. And we were all just out like the rest house ourselves. And so we go. Okay, well, let's just let's just all go. So I go home, and I'm walking home, and and I'm just like I'm walking home, and my bike needed a new inner tube at the time, so I'm walking home. It's about like a 20-minute walk, and so I'm walking, and then I reach home, and I immediately go to my room. My mom has not gotten off work yet. It's like my mom, I think, got off work at the time. I think she got off work at 7, and it was only I want to say it was about 6. So I'm going home. So I'm home, and I just lay in my bed, and I lay there staring blankly for hours. I'm not listening to Robert Plant anymore. I'm just laying there in my bed, and I'm just there. My mom comes home, dinner's ready, nothing happens, I wake up, it's 3 in the morning, and I was like, what happened? And, I'm back to myself, but I'm back to myself, but I'm not aware of what happened. I don't know, I must have lost past time. I fell asleep, I just wake up, it's 3 or 4 in the morning, and I go to the fridge and I immediately eat just whatever's in there, which is just sliced cheese. That day I vowed to never. I promised myself I'd never touch incense as long as I lived. I don't. It's I don't know if that's what like to get high. You know, me my this counts for my siblings too. We never tried to sneak alcohol or drugs past our parents, or snuck out to do that kind of, or snuck out to try that sort of thing. At least to my knowledge, they didn't, and I never have. Mainly the alcohol thing is just because I want to have my first. I want to have my first beer at Chuck E. Cheese. So I can just say, "Hey, 21st birthday!" Yet. Oh, no data.